All right, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. This channel is for educational purposes, and we check out great theories and concepts and discoveries that you're probably not familiar with because they've been suppressed. And these are things that most likely were suppressed a long time ago and have not come to your attention. Even if you're a digger, even if you're a researcher or an anon, a truther, you've probably spent your time uncovering the conspiracies, psyops, hoaxes, and false flags of the 20th century and the 21st century. But some of these things go back much further, and they're a little bit harder to research. But this is a segment that we have that is called the Q-tip of the spear. And this is for the Anons and the diggers out there who pay attention to that info war and that um, this is just my reactions to some of the shows that I've listened to over the last day or so. And I usually listen to the people that I consider to be at the tip of the spear. So I'm just putting a little bit of cotton swab on that. And yeah, I think, one of the main things that I'm trying to emphasize is that it's time to cut out of the info war. The info war is over. We won, and we defeated the globalists. Unfortunately, there's kind of a lot of carnage around. A lot of liberals who still haven't figured out what's going on yet. They've been hit by a truck. Um, and they, would be, uh, I won't say would be on our side, but they wouldn't be on their side if they knew what was really going on. They're not like bad people. They're just totally checked out of reality and, have some personality disorders that have to do with, TDS and stuff. But so this is a war that we've won, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means that now we're in control. And if we exercise bad control, it'll just be as bad as it was before. We have to know what we're doing. And we don't because we have not dug, digged, whatever. We haven't made our digs deep enough yet. We're still messing around in the 20th century, going back to the Federal Reserve. Well, we got to go back way, way, way further. And when we go back way, way, way further, it strikes at the heart of our conditionings, what we learned when we were growing up, what we learned about our family, our heritage, our culture, our civilization, and particularly our religion. And these things have not been given any type of proper scrutiny by the truthers out there, by even the truthers, not to mention the, just the conservatives and the rhinos out there that, kind of form a coalition from time to time, but, you know, don't, drop out once in a while and come back and come drop out again. You know, they get easily discouraged. Um, but even the hardcore truthers have not done the proper digging, and so we think that we're moving forward on this platform of Christianity, Christian values. That's not. It's not going to work. I'm not opposed to Christian values in general, but they're not Christian values, they're Roman values, because the Romans are the true authors of the New Testament. It was a psychological operation, and just like everything else is a psychological operation, And, basically what I'm saying to you is that Santa Claus doesn't exist, and you should know that by now. And the sooner that you abandon that belief, the more closer to reality you're going to get. And there's no evidence for it. There's a ton of evidence against it. And you continuing to lean on it is just a matter of consensus that, like, kind of all of you do that. All of you have these belief systems, some stronger than others, and the fanatics are kind of a little overbearing with their beliefs. And so the ones who have the weaker beliefs kind of defer to the ones with the stronger beliefs. But nonetheless, none of the beliefs are based on truth. None of them are based on evidence. They're all based on um, emotionality and security. You guys want to go to heaven, and you want to, you know, um, not have to examine your beliefs. And that's what's going to have to change for us to move forward. And I propose that we move forward on the basis of deism, one God who is good, who allows us, who has endowed us with higher mental faculties, uh, reason and inspiration and aesthetics and creativity and curiosity and wonderment and um, I don't know if I said inspiration, conscience, and through these higher faculties, we're able to behold God's creation directly and understand God directly through God's works, nature, the laws and principles of physics, geometry, and math, and so on. And we can understand God directly without these books and without these spokespeople, these priests and popes and rabbis and imams and whatever you want to call them. That's part of the past that we have to leave behind us. I'm obviously not denying the existence of God, but I am denying the existence of Jesus. He never existed. It's part of a psychological operation. It was a fictional story. Or in the alternative, you can say that he always existed. He's within all of us, and all of us have that ability to, um, you know, to flower into a, highly ethical, in wise being, which I wouldn't say that Jesus embodies that within the New Testament anyway. He's kind of a dick, you know. I mean, he's always complaining about stuff. He's yelling at people, he's um, you know, kind of temperamental. He jumps down your throat a lot, and he's got no sense of humor whatsoever. And he's a cuck. He never does anything against the Romans. Everything that he does is against the Jews, but when it comes to the Romans, he's a total cuck. So, I don't think he's a good example, even if you would consider him to be a real person. Um, but I get the idea of the Christ consciousness, and that is maybe I would use a different word, maybe Krishna consciousness. I'm not really that hip on that legend either. But these are all, and that's what the Romans did. They just borrowed from all of these other older sources to create their narrative in the New Testament, but none of it is based on any type of real situation. And you can determine that easily if you read the work of Josephus, the Roman historian who was writing from Caesar's palace about this war between the Romans and the Jews, which is the reason why the Romans wrote this New Testament, is to basically um, tame and domesticate, mellow out the Jews, and really put an end to the Jews, and as a religion anyway. And if you read Josephus, you will immediately, uh, if you read it side by side with the Gospels, you'll be able to tell that they're written by the same people at the same time for the same reason. And they're intended to be read together. And they bounce off each other, they bang off each other, they parallel each other in not a few, not a few hundred, but thousands of different places. And so get yourself a copy of Josephus, War of the Jews, 7 volumes, and check it out. You can start with General Titus, and his military campaign in Judea, and compare that with Jesus' ministry in Judea in the book of Luke. And tell me that they're not identical. And also, you can also tell me if you know of any evidence for the existence of Jesus outside of the Bible and outside of any Roman royals, people connected with the Caesars. And, you know, I would love to see the evidence. But until I see the evidence, I will not believe any of this because I'm a truther. I believe in the truth, and the truth requires evidence. Faith doesn't require evidence. Faith is, to me, only something that you would use when you don't have any evidence. But in this case, there is a lot of evidence against the existence of Jesus, and there is no evidence for his existence. So I'd love to be wrong about this, but nobody seems to be able to give me any of that sauce. All right, like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and we'll see you next time on the Q-tip of the spear. Have a wonderful day.